Recovered memory. The silent princess. A lost diary entry. The sunlight seemed to pierce through the castle walls directly into my room, and I thought there would be no escape from its burning rays. That morning was more unbearable than most, not because of my responsibility as the Princess of Hyrule, but because of the miserably hot and humid weather. Even for summer, it was a day like I could never have imagined, a heat wave unlike any the land had experienced in ages. Those in the capital, so often blessed with sublime weather year-round, were particularly upset. Perhaps it is an omen of sorts that the goddess's influence in these lands might have begun to wane. I can't be certain. All I know is that the air was thick and heavy, and the very act of breathing chokes me. I thought, being so high up in the western tower, that I might be able to get a reprieve from the harsh beams by letting in a breeze. Yet even the breeze was cursed that morning. A hot summer wind that only served to exhaust me further and leave me lethargic. And the sun scorched the stone of the castle walls so thoroughly that the building had become as a baker's kiln. Or, that's how it felt to me, at least. Try as I might, there was no comfort to be found. I remember these details vividly at the time of writing this, having been fumbling about in an uncomfortable daze trying to find this confounded diary of mine. I frequently seemed to misplace it, tending to lose it among the countless other books and papers I have lying about my room. One more example of my own tendency to hurry up and wait, always ready to leave at a moment's notice for some excursion planned out by father, or a survey to continue my research, something I dearly love. My thoughts clouded, I scrambled to locate my journal, but I couldn't find it. Eventually, having lost the will to continue in the face of the rising temperature, I decided to simply temporarily jot down my ideas on one of the many loose sheets of parchment strewn about my desk. Anything to get my mind off of this intolerable heat, since the other researchers won't be at the castle, having gone out to conduct a field study. Father wants me to take a break today from my studies too, because I will need to pay a visit to the sanctuary to offer up more prayers to the goddesses, or anyone who might listen. But I must admit that all I can really think about, what I keep reminiscing on, is how Link and I spent the other day together. It's 5 days since I last saw him before returning to the confines of the castle, and yet all I can seem to do is think about our time spent together. I must be losing my mind. If you'd asked me about him a month ago, I'd have said, "Link? Who? What about him?" But he is nothing like the person I once judged him to be. I couldn't have been any more wrong about him. Link is the appointed knight chosen by my father, and charged with keeping me in his care at all times. He was selected because of the exceptional display of bravery he had shown when one of the magnificent guardians we were researching went haywire, blasting devastating blue beams into the busy city crowds without warning. Link, by a happy turn of chance, had been training outside the nearby castle walls. With neither hesitation nor a thought for his own safety, had sprung into action and leapt into the path of the rampaging guardian. He distracted its deadly gaze from the crowds of innocent people, and made use of a pot lid, of all things, as a means to take it down. Being a trainee at the time, he didn't even have a proper shield. But that didn't deter his bravery. We're all still amazed by his feat, and aren't quite sure how he did it. But he was able to deflect the blast back at the malfunctioning mechanical menace, immobilizing it. It all happened so fast. If it weren't for him that day, a tragedy would certainly have occurred. The people are already uneasy about these marvelous artifacts we uncovered. Most look upon these guardians with suspicion and apprehension because they are such mysterious and powerful relics from a time long since forgotten. However, Link preventing any loss of life that day went a long way toward preventing even greater mistrust. We are very fortunate for that indeed. Our research is the most important thing right now, especially because, although it pains me to no end to say this, I haven't been able to summon the great sealing power of my ancestors. Try as I might, nothing happens at all. That is, if there even is such a thing as a sealing power. For now, the Guardians are our best hope, and I have Link to thank for that, preventing any undue mistrust among the people that day from the malfunctioning machine. My father too witnessed this, and knew, then and there, that Link would do great things in the Royal Guard. He saw something in him. He saw a hero. At the time, it even had me raising an eyebrow. But I was still unconvinced. After all, it could have been a simple stroke of luck. And, as much as I regret to say this, I didn't give Link any benefit of the doubt back then. Oh, how much more wrong would I prove to be? If only I could go back in time. From that moment on, he was chosen to be my sole protector, my knight attendant, and was given the title Captain of the Guard. It was a first title of its kind given to someone of only 17 years of age. Though I had not witnessed it for myself, rumor spread that he had bested even well-seasoned soldiers, men with many years of experience over him, as if it were just mere child's play. I'd been told it was quite the spectacle to witness. Even so, regardless of claims to his talents, I seethed at the thought of having to be under guard at all hours of the day. One day, shortly after he left with little warning, he came back from a long and tumultuous journey. Just about all the maidens of the city were throwing lily petals and roses at his feet, and soldiers cheered upon his return. The whole capital roared in celebration of the marvelous gift he brought back to us all. The Sword of Evil's Bane, our ancient blade of legend. He'd gone and done what many had long thought to be impossible, including myself. He'd freed the legendary sword that seals the darkness from its sacred pedestal. The very same legendary sword forged from the burning golden anvils of the goddesses themselves. Or so the old legends tell us. It had been hiding from mortal eyes for centuries, to the point we all started to believe such a blade was a mere myth and didn't actually exist. Yet he managed to have found it. But not only that, he freed it from its long slumber, and legends say only a true hero can free it from its stone pillar, for it serves no other master. Link at the time was living up to his end of the legend, where I, the princess, sacred guardian of the sealing power of the goddesses, was amounting to nothing. My studies were going nowhere. Even the Sheikah researchers were at a loss most of the time. Whatever progress we thought we would make would always take us a step backwards, leaving more questions than answers. If I am within the castle's walls, however, it isn't always necessary to have him by my side. Link, that is, seeing that I myself had a small army of soldiers just a whisper away from my bedroom. For even when I am alone, I am not truly alone. That is how it felt, at least, with the guards just outside my door ever since I could remember. It is hard for me to put into words what took place between him and I recently. Link, I mean. Things were different from before when he was just my knight and nothing else. Feelings I have never felt before in my life were beginning to bloom within me. A wonderful warmth in my chest. Just hearing his name spoken on someone else's lips had my skin turn red and flush. I couldn't help myself but think about him more and more. I must be going crazy. And wouldn't you know it, it was a miracle. Link can speak. Come to find out. Well, I mean, of course he can speak. But I finally got him to say just a few more syllables other than yes or no, princess. He actually has a cute way about him, and a nice smile too. If he would only just wear it more often. My mind is always racing with what he is thinking about, because I would be talking until the cuckoos came home to roost about almost everything, and all he would be doing is just standing there, behind me, with his usual stoic stare, neither agreeing or disagreeing with me. I think I would rather have him disagree with me than say nothing at all. It used to drive my mind wild at what he was thinking, and more importantly, what he thought of me. I used to think he despised me, a princess who was shunned by the divine, and that thought filled me with contempt for him when I first met him. Who is this goddess, gifted and talented commoner, one where everything came easy to him, think he was by judging me? Oh, I was so wrong about him. He wasn't thinking any of those awful things that I concocted up in my mind. It was I who was judging him before even getting to know him. I wish I could just undo all of the terrible things I may have said to him from before, or the way I took out my own frustrations on him. However, I slowly made my amends since that unfortunate run with the Yiga clan, and I got him to open up to me. Little by little, he selflessly saved me, even though I was being so cold to him. I didn't deserve his protection. I didn't deserve to have him. I didn't deserve any of it. But he did so anyways. By putting his own life at risk for mine, regardless of the way I've been treating him before. I wonder if it was more than just duty to him. Perhaps it was, or perhaps it wasn't. I would like to hope it was something more. Perhaps I'll never know. Which is fine, because I can wait. I can be patient. For Link, that is. It is worth a shot. He wasn't anything the person I judged him to be from before once I got him to open up, and after I reconciled with him. There is no urgency or any unreasonable and impossible expectations in his eyes when he looks at me. He even let me use him as my very own test specimen. He knew I aspired to be a great scholar, because I would talk about it over and over to him when we made our treks across the lower territories of Hyrule. It was during our continued preparations, which proved to me that he must have always been listening to my never-ending rambles of thought, and I think that's what I love about Link the most. He listened to me, and cared as if every word I said mattered. He just made me feel at peace when he was around, as if everything truly is going to be all right in the end, after all this with Calamity Ganon that was going to happen to us supposedly, that both of our destinies were bound to the same fate of fending off the Calamity. When we were alone, him and I didn't have to be the Princess of Hyrule. Everyone is so desperately looking up to me to perform my duty and to save them from this ageless nightmare that is coming for us all. I had not the slightest idea of where to begin or how to do what they were all asking of me, but it was still expected of me just the same. The goddesses were deaf to my devotion, and all the while everyone's eyes were on me, looking to me to save them. I feel so powerless. Even as I write this, I still have the hope that soon I may be able to manifest the divine gift. They all truly deserve a real princess. one worthy of the goddesses, as if I was a mere painter's portrait or idea of what a princess should be. All they see is my responsibility and duty to the realm and nothing more. I could have screamed at the top of my lungs in a crowded room and nobody would have heard a thing. But Link, he saw me. He heard me, my voice. To him, I was different. He didn't look at me with the same eyes as everyone else did. Neither did he judge me the way they did too. To him, I am just Zelda. I'm allowed to be just me. He isn't all brute either, as he had led on in front of the others. He is gentle when he wants to be, even though I know he thought I wasn't paying attention when he secretly was. The way he moved so strong and fierce in a fight, yet so sweet at times as to not pull or damage the roots of a flower. There is an unspoken tenderness hidden within him that I want to find. I laughed when I was with him because I didn't think he would have actually gone through with it too. But he actually did. That Link is devoted to his duty as my sworn knight, regardless of the nasty task laid before him at hand. Or perhaps it was more than just duty. In either case, the results from the test were quite pleasant to say the least. I told him of research we had here at the castle that I was leading with a few of the chicer scholars and self-proclaiming scientists. Preparing for the Calamity has been put in the forefront of all matters. The realization of it becoming all too real was becoming fact to everyone. Speaking of the Calamity, even my father scoffed at such stories of its existence until she came into our lives. It happened shortly before my loving mother died. I was just a small child. The travelling oracle, they called her. But truth be told, she was just a mere fortune-teller. A peddler of sorts, dabbling in children's stories and magic. Or so I thought back then. I was so wrong. She was for real. She knew things that nobody could have just learned or known by mere happenstance. She presented undeniable evidence of Ganon's inevitable return to the kingdom, and things around here have never been the same since. Some things I can say changed for the better, but mostly for the worse. Where was I? Oh, yes. Link and I were taking a short rest heading back to the castle from the Gerudo Highlands, and that's where this little adventure of ours began. It was a beautiful morning, unlike the ones we're having now. The grassy hills were like an artist's painting. It was filled with dashes of yellow, blue and pink blooms of flower petals that dotted along the luscious open meadows, as far as the eye could see. A wonderful day indeed. I just needed an opportunity to gather some of these flowers for my research that I was conducting at the castle, and that's when I spotted it from the corner of my eye. It thought it could have escaped my quick reflexes, but I snuck up and snatched it as fast as I could move on my legs on my knees. I can be quite fast when I want to be. Perhaps not as hasty as Link during a spa, but you get the idea. It was a hot-footed frog. It was named so because it has been hypothesized that if one could manage to get a hold of one of these little guys and happen to ingest or even just taste their rubbery hide, it could possibly make the unlucky person who had to bear such a foul taste in their mouth gain a sudden enhance of their movement speed. And with Link's level of physical fitness, he would have made a perfect candidate of the study, or the very least he would have made for my good laugh. Both ideas amused me greatly. A princess has got to do what she's got to do to get things done. So, I put my best face on for him and asked him to help me in this endeavor. I can be quite persuasive when I want to be. Not that I would use it to any unfair advantage, of course. You should have seen Link's face. If only I had the slate in my hands to capture such a moment. His eyes widened and face went red as a mighty thistle at the thought of it. At first, he seemed frightened and appeared to back off. And just when I thought he wasn't going to do it, out of nowhere he found the courage and just went for it. Without any warning at all, he just threw the poor critter whole into his mouth, cheeks puffed out and face pale. I guess I should have told him. It only needed just a lick or two. But I couldn't let a good laugh go to waste, so I relished in his discomfort for the time being, and kept the facts to myself. My side ached for an hour after from laughing so hard at his wild behaviour. I always knew he was an outdoorsman, and was one with the wilderness. But that Link took it to a whole nother level of devotion. The door rang with the slamming of the fist of the guard who kept post outside my bedroom door. I was torn from my happy daydream and shot up out of my chair from writing. I heard the thundering march of footsteps follow towards my bedroom door, getting louder and louder.